Good morning. What I wanted to do today was to put the transmission in, and I think we'll get there, but we found a couple problems. First off, this flex plate goes up against this crankshaft, and that fits well. And these bolt holes, although they look concentric, they're not. This one is slightly off center, so it only goes in one spot. If I turn to the next one, the holes don't line up. That hole doesn't line up, that hole doesn't line up. If I turn it over here, they all line up. That's great. So let's put some bolts in. So that bolt goes in fine. 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 Now you probably know what I'm leading up to. This bolt will start, but then binds. That's as far as that goes. And this bolt does the same thing. It starts in the threads, but then binds. So why does it bind? I don't know. So if we take the flex plate off, and we train the threads on the crank, they're fine. So the threads on the crank are okay. So if I look down in the holes of the crank, of the belt of flex plate, the holes are kind of rough. So I'm thinking that if I just clean out the inside of these holes, I won't have a problem. And it really doesn't make any difference if these things are a little bit oversized, because the crank, the flex plate is centered by that flange. So if I don't touch this flange, and it's a nice tight fit, and I just enlarge these holes a little bit, then the crankshaft will center the flex plate. So that's the first job. What we have is two holes that appear to be a little too small. I mean, the bolt goes in, but when we put it on the crankshaft, these two holes, these two holes are not the right size. So just for the grins of it, that hole measures, right there, that hole measures 515. And this hole measures 510. And that hole measures 510. So I'm off by 5 thousandths. These holes are off by 5 thousandths. 5 thousandths is not a lot, but I don't know exactly how much metal I can remove and which way. A 1/2 inch drill hole is too sloppy. It doesn't fit. A uni bit steps up too much, so I can't use a unibit. So the first thing I'm going to try to do is I'm going to try honing it out. Just run a hone down there and see if I can get it right. So let's try that. I don't see any difference. A little shinier, maybe. These two holes. Let's see. No, it's these, the top two holes, yeah. Nah, that didn't change it at all. Oh, I maybe got 1,000th. Maybe got 1,000th. So I gotta go a little more. So now the next thing I got is a file. That didn't make any difference either. Well, that one says 50, changes. It's not round. Huh. Boy, I really hate to take a step drill or a tie grinder to that. I did want to try a die grinder, but I don't think I have any choice. Well, that's 15, and that's 15. We're gonna go try that. I'll be back. Let's check the fit. This goes on here like this. And that bolt goes in there. 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 And here we go. That bolt now goes in there. And that bolt goes on there. So now we can move to the next step. And the next step is to bolt the torque converter to the flex plate. And that's not as easy as it sounds, because these holes are set up for a stock torque converter, and I have a smaller torque converter, so the holes aren't as far out. So how do we locate those holes? Well, I think the way I'm going to locate those holes is I'm actually going to just set the torque converter in there. And the crankshaft will locate the holes for me, and I can, is that hole like that? Hold on a second. Do they fit? Yes, it does fit. Okay, so 3 of the holes fit, but I need 6. And in case you haven't noticed, on the back of this mid plate there's a scratch, there's a huge gouge. And that gouge was caused when the 3 bolts sheared in the final round at Norwalk. So we went to a 6-bolt flange. The problem is that there's already a hole drilled here, and if I drill a hole for this flange here, it's going to be halfway into the other hole. So what I have to do is drill 6 new holes, so with the right spacing. And I think the best way to do that, to locate the holes, is to have this torque converter hanging just like this, turn it so it's halfway between these holes, and use a transfer punch to punch the location of the new holes, and then drill those new holes. I do have another method, and I'll show you that method downstairs. Okay, so let's go back downstairs again. The reason I'm replacing this is that, well, there's 2 reasons I'm replacing it. First of all, this has a little bit of a dome to it. It's not flat like this used to be. And I could push this down and make it flat. But the second reason is for this little tag right here. And this little tag says that this flex plate meets NHRA standards. They want this done, I think, every 2 years, but I don't remember what it is. But so I need to get a new tag so that I can pass a tech inspection. Not that they've ever looked at a flex plate, but I've got this dome, so I might as well comply. We have gotten these holes such that I can now bolt the flex plate to the crankshaft. Good, that's a good thing. The next thing we need to do is to get 6 holes to bolt the torque converter to the flex plate. Now these 3 holes, this hole, that hole, and that hole actually line up. If I put the torque converter here, those holes line up. Very nice. But these holes are in the wrong spot. That hole's in the wrong spot. If I was just to drill that hole this hole and this hole are close enough together where part of this hole would be in this hole. So I don't want that. The last time we faced this, I had a transmission shop, the transmission shop that built this torque converter, and I'm not going to mention their name because I'm not all that happy with them. Drilled these holes. There's 6 holes. These holes, here's one problem. These holes should be equal distance apart, and they're not, because they're a neutrally balanced plate. Although it really doesn't make any difference because there's 6 holes, so the material you remove balances the plate out. But you'd want to be, it doesn't take much to get halfway between those holes. So we can do that, and we're going to do that. What I had them do, what they did, the way they did this is they took the torque converter, and I smartly asked for this fixture and made a fixture. So they took the torque converter, and this goes this way. So I can get those 3 holes to line up. And then they took this fixture and they put it over the torque converter and into the flex plate. So it centers the flex plate. The problem is, although this is a really nice fit, I mean that's a good fit. This fit is sloppy. It moves around. So, although it centers this, the problem is that what they did to compensate for this slop is they drilled these holes bigger than what they had to. That drill fits that hole. That's 2 sizes above the hole for the torque converter. That's the hole for the torque converter. This screw goes into the hole for the flex plate when this hole goes into the torque, this drill goes into the torque converter. So the one that goes into the torque converter is 7/16, and the hole they drilled for the flex plate is 15/32. I'd really like it to line up so I can just use the 7/16 to go all the way through. Now I'm probably not going to get that close, but I'm going to try. And then if that doesn't work, I'm going to go to the next step, which is 29/64, which is still a really sloppy fit for the holes that they've got. I'm going to try to be a little more precise than what the transmission place did. And I can't do that with this fixture because this fixture is sloppy. You take this fixture off and it moves around. So the way I'm going to do that is I'm going to bolt the flex plate to the back of the motor. Then I'm going to put this up against the flex plate, allowing this piece right here to center the torque converter in the crankshaft. And then I'm going to take a center punch, a transfer punch, which fits this hole. Oops, next one down. Which fits this hole. And I'm going to transfer the center of this hole to this flex plate. And then I'm going to drill the holes. So let's do that. So this is my 3rd attempt, and I've called in the expert. And we're going to try a different method. Come over, expert. We're going to, because there's this hole, and that hole are a different dimension, different distance from the center than that hole, and that hole. Measuring from hole to hole doesn't give us an accurate center. At least that's what I'm told. So what we're going to do is draw a line through the center of these holes, and these holes, and these holes, all the way out to the edge. That way the circumference of the hole is identical. And then we're going to measure from that line to that line, which should give us the center point of this line, and then we can draw the lines. So let's do that.
can you tell me measure this to see if it makes sense what we just did?
We got to do this now because we're filming. So we're going like that, like that. Like that. Like that. Like that. And like that. So now we got all 6 marked. So now let's measure from, find one that's not on a weld. Right here, right, they're all got a weld. We can go from this one to this one.
6.5.
You got 6.5? All right, so 3 1/4.
But be careful when you do that because this 6.5 this is 6.5. And you're looking at it, looks like you've gone over, but it's there.
Okay, so 3 1/4.
What are you doing?
Measuring 3 1/4. 6.5. It's not 6.5.
It is 6.5.
This one's not 6.5. Alright, so 3 1/4 wants to be right there.
Better put another mark on it.
Three 1/4. Three 1/4. That's not 6.5. 3 1/4.
There's one more. 2 more.
6.5. 3 1/4. 3 1/4. So then, we take this. I think this is going to work out better. Theoretically, those are evenly spaced. So now I got to go upstairs and I got to center punch those. No, that'll do it upstairs. I'll center punch them now. So let's try the 3rd attempt. That goes on there like that. And we got these bolt holes right size. We're trying out a new microphone. And there we go. Okay. Bring the jack in here. Try not to drop this. Okay, we're too high. Let's try that. All right, a little low. Let's bring this up. It goes in the hole and support it. And line it up. That's pretty good. Now, what we want to do is transfer the centers. And now the tough one, the bottom one. So we gotta hold this torque converter in. You gotta take the jack out. We don't want it to move. Put this center in. Looks pretty good. That one's pretty much right on. That one's pretty much right on. That one's. I think we can drill those holes. That one's not. Yeah, that one's on. No, that one's not on. So we missed by that one. But we're gonna drill those holes just the way they are. It's close enough. What I mean by close enough is this line is halfway between there and there, but these holes should be exactly concentric with the torque converter. So now we go downstairs and drill some holes.